welcome. My name is Brittany Porter. I am an energy healer and a spiritual coach. Today we are doing a quantum healing session for the full moon in Aries. It is a blood moon, it is a double moon, it is a hunter moon. It's all the moons, and I'm going to explain those more in depth. So the quantum energy healing is going to be helping us release those things that are no longer serving us, because that's what we're going into with this Aries moon. Even though, yes, we're going into this with the Aries moon, and we're also going into that with the winter for those of us that are living in the northern hemisphere. So this might be a little bit different if you're in the southern hemisphere. Okay. Oh yeah, you can ask whatever you need to be released or whatever you want to amplify. You can hold any type of intentions that you want to on your end. So we're going to be working with different energies. We're going to be working with affirmations and crystals as well. We might also have some spirit guides that come through. Oftentimes I have ones that I work with and channel. Sometimes they come through. It just depends on what energy we're working with. If at any time there's spirit guides that come through that you don't want to work with, they do not take offense. You can say skip, or I just want the quantum healing. It's fine. Use your discernment, use your intuition, take what feels good for you, leave the rest. Okay? And so we're going to be, this one's going to be more talking because I'm going to explain all the energies as well. So to kick us off, Aries is fire energy. It's like that inspired action type of energy. So we're going to start off with an oracle card here. Fire. I'm going to read to everyone from our guidebook here. Fire consumes anything it touches. The flames remind us of the impertinent nature of reality and how situations can quickly transform into beauty or chaos. Fire's passion and its dancing flames invite us to reach to the sky. Warmth and light are heavenly, yet too much heat can scorch us. To fully step into the energy of fire is to be utterly transformed, like the phoenix rising from the ashes. The invitation. Warm your hands and your heart by your inner fire. Let it burn away your hardships. Let it consume your pain and sorrow. Has life become too rigid, too cold, or too superficial? Light a candle or make a bonfire and toss into the flames everything that has become stiff and painful. Give it all to the fire for rapid transformation. Set your life on fire. So this is the medicine. Are you feeling too fiery? Have you been reactive and short-tempered towards others? This card has come back to tell you all the fiery emotions directed at others can backfire at you. It is not a good idea to play with fire when you're out of balance or angry. Now is the time to act or react. It's time to tame and befriend your inner fire so it does not scorch you. So I think that's very reminiscent of all of the things that we're going to be talking about here in this Aries energy coming up. So Aries is ruled by the planet Mars, which is the like warrior type of energy, war type of energy, which per what we were talking about with the cards, it can be utilized in like very beneficial ways. But just like anything, it has a good side and it has not necessarily like a negative side, but a shadow side. And so we really have to find balance between those two things. So we have the hunter moon. And so the hunter moon is a signal to gather. It's get everything prepped and ready for the winter that is ahead. And so spiritually, we can see that as when we're heading into the winter, it's time to kind of go within our shadow self and go through all of that, like we were talking about wounded healer before we started, and looking at all the different facets may have not been looked at in a while. And so this moon is preparing us to have the energy to do that. It's also a double moon. So double moon, I actually researched that today and found out cool. Double moon is when the moon goes, it hits its peak 2 days in a row at the exact same time. And it symbolizes illuminating things from the past, like lessons that you've learned, and reflecting them towards your future for confirmation. So basically showing you, hey, you went through all of this growth, did a great job. Here is like you reaping the benefits and the rewards over on this side over here. So you might see things come up from the past prior, all the lessons, for you to reflect on them again and see how much you've grown, but they're going to have to come up so you can see your growth chart there. And so if something comes up and you're like, dang, I don't understand why this is happening again. Look at it and use the new tools that you have either to traverse it or to look at it in a different perspective. You realize we are not that same person that we were, even though we love them, our younger selves. We have transmuted a lot of that, and even though it comes back around, doesn't mean that we have to interact with it in the same way, or we can apply what we've learned to the situation. So don't let it overwhelm you if it comes up again, because it's a good thing. It's like, how are you gonna handle it this time? In a better fashion, most likely. All right. Let me drink some more because I'll be talking. Okay, and we all know full moon's about releasing things that are no longer serving us. And we're in Libra season. This is why I have the water going on in the background too, because the Libra energy is all about like balance and harmony and peace and unity and just kind of like riding the waves and more like flow energy. So that can counterbalance the fiery, like push through energy of the Aries. So we'll get in more to that. So fiery, intense energy, it's all about passions and expression. So the things that like really light up your soul and make you want to like get up and go, right? The archetype is warriorship, leadership, pioneering, and confidence. And so we have the ram that comes forward as well as the animal represented by the Aries. And in shamanism, strength, determination, and courage. And so the ram busts its way through. Like, if you are experiencing a lot of self-limiting beliefs, like there's a lot of us that are making this big shift into our new higher version right now, that comes with busting through self-limiting beliefs in order to make that shift. And so this Aries energy is perfect for that, because it's like we're going to steadfast and push our way through. The shadow side of that ram, though, is that sometimes it's hard-headed and tries to pick fights with people to like be in the ego and like be right and like showboat, right? So that's where we have to keep it in check. But let's see. We're coming up out of Mercury Retrograde, and that is all about pause, process, and reflect. And we all know we're not trying to make big, major decisions during Mercury Retrograde. Okay, that is when we are reflecting. And so this Aries energy is creating a space where it's like, okay, we pause and we reflected on what's working and what's not working. So now it's time to get up and take some inspired action and push through like those self-limiting beliefs and those boundaries and those like mind prisons that we put ourselves in, and say like, this is what I learned, let's go. Okay, love this. I took a picture of the moon, but I can't post it here. Yes, post in the Discord share, and we would love to see it there. I would love to see it. Okay, so the crystals that we're going to be working with are going to be grounding crystals to counterbalance that like very fiery energy. It's grounding the energy, so it's not all wild and all over the place. It's making it more like intentional use. All right, so we're gonna take a pause on my chat here. This is black kyanite. This is really good for your Earth Star chakra. So if you're needing to find some groundedness in your life, or you've been having like frizzle-frazzly energy, this will help tether you to Mother Gaia and help you root in deeper. Oh, that's awesome. Burning letters. I just watched the video before I got on here about burning letters. Oh, thank you, Sean. I like that little telescope. For everybody watching on this YouTube, I'm doing a TikTok live, so that's who I'm talking to in the chat here. Burning letters is basically like telling the universe like you're letting go of something, like letting the cosmos help you take care of it instead of you just doing it on your own. It's like that releasing energy. Oh, thank you, Bobby. And we always want to say, I am releasing with ease and grace. I am releasing with ease and grace. So we have the Samhain coming up and Halloween at the end of the month. And so that is when the veil is very much thinning and we can see a lot more into different dimensions and frequencies and connect with past loved ones on the other side. And for a lot of people, they celebrate Halloween as their new year. Instead of in January, it is October 31st to November 1st. And so it's a good time to do a lot of reflection on what do I want to leave in this year moving forward into the next. So you can ask yourself that now too while we're receiving the quantum healing. What is it that you are wanting to release? You can share in the chat if you want, but what is it that we are wanting to leave in this year? Hippie Sun, are you feeling it and asking how you're feeling it, or are you saying that you're not feeling it? Past trauma, good. Narratives that do not serve. Self-limiting beliefs, self-doubt. Emotional trauma, toxic, negative people. And then we're going to come in with some obsidian here. This can also help us with our psychic abilities. And so with the veil thinning coming up, we can ask the obsidian energy to help us with our third eye and our crown chakra, and with your earth star chakra too. That one's very important. Self-doubt and old patterns, drama, narcissistic people, all good things to release. And you remember when we said before, with it being a double moon, sometimes we have those things come back around for us to do a karmic clear out. So maybe we didn't clear it out all the way the first time, or it's coming back around to show us how much we've grown. Ooh, people pleasing. Okay, so the Aries energy is also about bringing, what did I write there? Bringing end of old ways of doing things. And so sometimes we get so, even when things are going very well in our life, we get so attached to our realities that the universe has something like sitting right there for us, but we're like, no, everything's functioning fine. Like, because change is scary sometimes, right? Like doing things in a new way, or doing something completely different from what you're doing right now, but we'll hold on so tightly with this facadal lens of, no, it's working fine, but we don't see how much better it is over here, even though it looks okay right now. And so the universe sometimes will make you go to a standstill where things like all of a sudden they're not working like they used to, even though you've been doing the same thing. And it's them, your guides, higher self, cosmic, trying to say like, hey, we're trying to get you to go in a different direction, or maybe trying something new, but we're holding on too tightly. And so this Aries energy is the fuel that we need, the courage that we need to try these new things. It's also about surrendering rather than resisting. So oftentimes, there's this healer on TikTok, I can't remember what her name is, but she said, sometimes when we don't know what to do, the best thing is to not do anything at all. And that's very counterintuitive, especially with like Aries energy. You would think like, we gotta do it. But part of having that strength, that fiery strength, is knowing when you need to do stuff and when you need to take a break. Because there's strength in taking a break. Just like how sometimes we don't want to take a nap and rest, but that's actually what we need. That's the fuel, the fire. And so when we don't know what to do, she said to literally do nothing and stare at the wall. Like sometimes it's your guides and your higher self trying to slow you down enough to give you that download or realization, or to prep your body to have these new levels of energy and these new levels of source come in. Thank you for the corn alley. That was so cute. That's the third time about rest today. Yeah. And also, like, sometimes when we're like resisting, and saying like, you wanting change or things to happen right this second is also a form of resisting. And sometimes we have to look around and just say, you know what? This is where I wanted to be like 10, 15 years ago, okay? But I'm so caught up in future me that I'm not appreciating and celebrating all of my past versions and where we've come from, okay? So sometimes your stall and your rest period and you're like, I'm okay where I'm at right now is the best thing that you can do. All right. So the Aries energy is also about being the initiator and releasing what no longer serves you, looking at things that are no longer in alignment. And so sometimes we are continuing to do things even though they're not bringing us the joy that they once were, but we still do them because we're like, well, they brought me joy before. We're like, things are all right. But we have to ask ourselves, like, why are we continuing to do these things? Because when we take a minute to pause and say, like, why am I still in this job that I used to love but I'm not anymore, or these hobbies or these interests? Because anytime we want to bring new energy in, we have to let go of something to make room for it. But that's scary sometimes. But if you have something in your life that isn't really like functioning at the level that you want, sit down for a minute and say, why am I doing this? Sometimes you just need to recalibrate your why. Like that's all you need is just to recalibrate the why. It's like the compass of like clarity. All right. So for following your heart and what your heart is trying to tell you, instead of like listening to this up here, we're going to be working with malachite. Malachite is really good at bringing things to the forefront and making you look at them. And so if you want to accept the malachite, it's a little more intense than like rose quartz. But if you want to accept that, it will help bring those things forward so you can take a better look at them. And I'll give you a tangible example. So I was going to school for psychology, and I was going to become a clinical psychologist, and I was like holding on so tightly to that, even though I didn't want to do it anymore. I was like, no, I said I'm going to do it, so I'm going to do it, because I ain't no quitter, okay? That's a trauma response. But I didn't realize that on the other side of me letting that go was this. And what I do now. And that was a long journey of letting go of that. But it was something that was positive. So you see, it wasn't like making sense why it wasn't working anymore. But sometimes you just gotta trust what your intuition is saying and let go. Okay, the Aries energy is also about relationship with yourself and the conflicts that we create in our mind, because we talked about how it can cause all of this like frustration and anger and aggression. That's the shadow side of the Aries. agitation, fights, aggression, frustration, and lashing out. That's when that fiery energy is out of control. Is we're picking fights with people, we're trying to distance ourselves from them. It can also cause us to isolate because of that conflict type of energy. So that's when we're talking about balancing out with the Libra energy of like that watery surrender, flow, harmony, balance, peace. It can help bring that flame down a little bit. So we need to be very mindful of going into the Aries energy, that we can be very tense. And I'll give y'all an example. So today I was literally writing these notes about the Aries energy, and my son was on the couch and he like kicked my hand, and I was like, don't do that, I'm writing these notes. And my higher self was like, I know you're not fussing at him about an accidental thing while you're writing about not getting upset with people and being snappy. And I was like, you're right. And so I had to take a minute and apologize and be like, hey, I'm really sorry that I snapped at you. You didn't mean to do that. And it's not that important. You kicking my thing and hitting my hand. It is okay. So we need to really like check where that energy is at within ourselves, and maybe we need to do some soothing or take a minute and not just initially like react. It's always better to come back than react sometimes. And some things you can do, like if you're feeling that, you know, fiery energy, but not in like a positive way, we can do things with water, the element of water, to help cool us off, like physically and spiritually. And so I like to take spiritual showers or baths, and this is where you set the intention beforehand to clear away any energy that's no longer serving you, or help amplify things, or help, you know, like see things in a different light, different perspective. Because a lot of times these things are like miscommunications we're having with people as well. This full moon has me spicy. Yes, that's where we have to really like check. Are we coming from that shadow side of the Aries energy? Or are we coming from that what do I call it? The archetype of the warriorship, leadership, pioneering confidence. Very different energies. Sometimes I need as much as a timeout as my kids. Yeah, sometimes I have to be like, listen, I'm gonna go in my room for a minute and I'm going to chill out, and then we will come back. All right. So this is green moss agate. It's a growth and transformation stone, grounding stone. It can also help you connect to nature spirits. This one is really good for your Earth Star chakra and your root chakra and your sacral chakra as well. Also, drinking a lot of water can help cool you off physically and spiritually, especially because you can speak intentions and affirmations into your water and then drink them back, and they infuse into your cells. And so if you ever feel like heated, take a break and go drink some water and cool off. So for shadow work, especially because we're coming up into the Samhain and Halloween coming up and going into winter for those of us that are in the northern hemisphere, this is when we are about to dive into a lot of shadow work. And so things that might come up are deep insecurities, unhealed wounds, and facing our biggest fears in life. And what that looks like for your biggest fears might be your own like mental up here, like your self-limiting beliefs, or you holding yourself back and not really seeing yourself for like your true grace, your true essence, your true power. So if you start to see those things come up, if you are going into the new year based off of Samhain or your or Halloween, the Aries energy is, what's the word I'm looking for, is trying to burn all of that away for your new year. And so you might see it coming up very soon, all of these things. And so that's it's going to be a great time to utilize it, and you'll utilize the Aries energy, and you'll have a lot more spiritual, emotional, physical, mental energy to tackle them. So I know we just came out of Mercury Retrograde, where ain't nobody got no energy for nothing, but the Aries energy is going to give you what you need. And then it's going to help you with the year moving forward. And so for the shadow work coming up, this is black onyx, and this is really good for helping with self-limiting beliefs and help ground your energy as well, and give you strength. And I think I'm going to start doing more of these so we can do like preparatory before the new moons and before the new cycles and before the new, you know, quarterly seasons and things like that come up, so people are like more prepared for what's about to happen. And I mean that in good ways too. Like, it's not all like shadow work stuff, but also like the benefits that you're going to reap from these different seasons. So while we're talking about reaping benefits, what are some things that y'all are trying to bring in this upcoming year? What is it that you are manifesting? And when I say manifesting, if you really want to amplify your manifestations coming up and like fuel them with this Aries energy, if you can, instead of like, and I'm not saying no to this, but if you can, instead of like the object things sometimes, like money, house, car, those type of things, if you ask yourself, what is the energy, not energy, what are the emotions under those manifestations? Is that house going to make me feel more secure and stable and bring me a lot of joy and happiness and make fun memories with my kids or my partner or myself, right? If we can get to the emotions of that thing, that's some mega fuel for your manifestations. And it opens up the window for the universe to bring you things you didn't even ask for. Because now we're asking for like our subconscious to be working on like, I just want more feelings of this no matter what comes my way. As long as it's all positive, good things coming my way with these emotions attached to it, like bring me more of those things. So we're amplifying manifestations as a whole. Okay. Love, new energy, a baby next year, improved physical health, financial abundance, inner peace. So with like that, with the physical health and financial abundance, what are the emotions underneath that we're asking to come in? Yes, abundance of self-love, health, happiness, and growth. Love it. So what are the feelings that we want to feel with physical health, or spiritual health, or emotional health, mental health? This is bloodstone. This is really good for health. all over health, with all four energy bodies. But very much so with your physical health, especially. Increase my connection to Mother Gaia. Love it, love it, love it. safety, inner peace, happiness, energy, playfulness. Ooh, dragons. I don't know, Carrie, you're saying you want to manifest more dragons, but I'm here for that. Also, we know a good way to bring in new energy is to release old energy. And so things that you can do are like declutter your home. Like, is there like a doom box for my ADHD people that you've been needing to clean out, or a closet, or maybe like donate to somewhere, clean out your car? Like, those physical representors are actually what's going on inside of our energy body as well. Like, we have a very like cluttered space. Usually we're having like a clutter internal. So when we clear out what's out front of us here, it makes us feel more at peace inside. And it kind of pings the universe of like, hey, I'm ready for new things to come in. Feelings of abundance, safety, well-being, joy, and confidence. And clearing out old energy is also relationships that are no longer serving us, behavioral patterns, mental thoughts, self-limiting beliefs, doubts, worries, joy and confidence. I want to bring security, remove the old feelings. So activities for the Aries moon. So because we have this fiery, like, get up and go energy, and that ram energy as well of like pushing through and persevering, is starting new projects. So if you've been having something kind of like ruminating in the back of your mind, especially during Mercury Retrograde that we just came out of, but you knew it wasn't time to start it yet, we were in process, pause energy before. This is the time to start it, because the Aries energy is going to give you that push that you need. Also taking on new challenges and new risks, like if you want to start making content, if you want to pick up a new hobby, if you want to get back out into the dating world, whatever it is that like scares you, right? The Aries energy will help give you a light. Carrie, can you help remind me what I said about that? You see where it's getting me. It's also a good time for physical activities. Aries energy is very physical. So if you're wanting to like pick up a new sport or a new physical hobby like rock climbing, or if you want to start on a kickball team, or you want to start go on a rollerblading team, or whatever it is for you, like that is going to be great for you to start. Now if you're wanting to start something with somebody else, right, like y'all are doing a group project, starting a podcast, whatever that looks like, we just need to make sure that we keep in check our communication with the Aries energy, right? Because Aries energy, sometimes the shadow side is stubbornness, not listening to others, hyper independence. So how do you deal with that almost when we already do that? So it is magnified. Can you tell me what you mean? Oh, because it's like hyper-focused Aries energy. Oh, that's where the Libra energy can really be helpful. The Aries energy is like the inspired action and the go, go, go. But sometimes that rest and relaxation is, we have to counterbalance that. So with the ADHD, like that's a big thing with people with ADHD, is like hyper-focusing and then burning out. With ADHD, a lot of times when you have like very high energy, you want to utilize it like immediately, because you know you're going to have 2 or 3 low days afterwards. But sometimes that's self-inflicted, the low days, because we think, oh, we have to use all this energy immediately because we're going to tank. But because we're using all the energy immediately, that's why it tanks. So we have to roll over energy. You don't have to utilize all your energy. If you feel super rock star, like God type of energy in a day, we can roll some of that over. We don't have to do all of it. My mom is a Libra with ADHD. The balance is too off. She might be too much in her feminine energy. That's where you have to find that balance. All right. Let's do. So for taking those risks, we have Tiger's Eye. Tiger's Eye is really good for your confidence and your self-esteem and helping you see that you have it within you to do the thing that you want to do or be the person that you want to be. So if you want to accept that, you can say I accept in your mind during the chat. And Carrie, I'm actually going to soon be making a Life with ADHD workshop, masterclass type thing for managing ADHD. If anybody's interested in that. Okay, I see there's several people like, yes. So an affirmation we can say is, I believe in me. I believe in me. Where did I put my... Oh, there it is. Okay. Okay, so a journal prompt that we can, oh good, hey Michelle, a journal prompt that we can focus on for this season, upcoming season, is, all right, have I been masking in different areas of my life or with myself? And what I mean by masking, if that is a newer term to you, is kind of shifting your persona, shifting how you show up, shifting your languaging when you're around certain people or experiences to kind of like conform and fit in. It's a trauma response a lot of times, oftentimes from our childhood, like a safety mechanism. But when we do that, it changes the people and the outcomes and the experiences that we have, because it's trying to match that of the mask, the frequency of the mask. And so the more that you lean into your authenticity. Oh, thank you, Sean. I was trying not to get caught up there. The more that you lean into your authenticity, now that we're talking about like not masking and doing you, okay? Your people will find you and they will resonate with you, okay? But that's also how you find your soul tribe and how the universe meets you halfway with bringing the things that are meant for you. I've been trying not to mask around friends, but still in the spiritual closet with my family. Yeah, it's not always an overnight thing too. Like, you have to build up your confidence and your self-esteem, and also teaching your younger versions that you are safe, that you're not in those same spaces and places that you were in the past always. And you do that little by little, by like proving it to yourself, like, oh, I am okay, I am safe, it is okay for me to be me. And you just do it little by little, and you gain more confidence, and you start bringing those people in and those experiences, and you're like, okay, I can take the mask off. Now, the mask with your inner self, sometimes we are playing too small. Sometimes we are not stepping into like our full divinity, our full power, because either we're not seeing ourselves like that, or maybe other people outside of us were taking on too many of their perceptions and too many of their opinions. And and we're not being true to ourselves. We're not looking in the mirror of not authenticity is not the right word, the mirror of truth of who we really are. So we need to ask ourselves, like, am I playing it too small? Am I not showing up how I could? Or how I know I could? Okay. And for anybody that's watching on this YouTube, and I know you don't see the comments on here, somebody was saying that my Reiki is not congruent. There's no flow to it. This is not a Reiki session. This is more of like, let's chat about the Aries energy coming up and the quantum energy healing. But that in and of itself, like, you're not going to resonate with everybody. This is not just for like content creators or whomever. You're not going to resonate with everyone. You're not going to be everybody's cup of tea. But the more you lean into your authenticity, the more you do find the people who love and support you and just genuinely love what you do, and you as a person and you as a soul. You're not meant to fit in. You're not meant to rock with everybody or resonate with everybody. Like, that's okay. That's what keeps life spicy. If we were all the same and like doing the same things and agreed on the same things, it would be very boring. And so, like, you just gotta keep it pushing, keep it moving, and you will find your people. Oh, thank you, Michelle. I appreciate that. This is Sage. A beige world. Sean said yes. And that's okay. Everybody is on a different journey. Everybody's on a different path. You don't have to believe what I believe. I don't have to believe what you believe. We are all on our own journeys, and that is okay. But it's oftentimes we try and like conform to, you know, what society says, or our parents, teachers, friends, family members. Oh, you're welcome for the cleansing. This is releasing energy, releasing all that stuck and stagnant energy that we felt from Mercury Retrograde, of feeling like stuck and stagnant, because we're all in that process pause phase. This is clearing out. Okay. So if you are not struggling with necessarily, but if you're working through quote-unquote procrastination and maybe not taking as much inspired action as you would want because of those fears, those self-limiting beliefs, I did a workshop on procrastination, and there's a link in my bio. For those of you watching this on YouTube, it'll be in the description down there below. It's a free workshop, and I talk about how sometimes we classify ourselves as procrastinators or lazy when that's not actually what's going on. There's many different layers to quote-unquote procrastination and laziness. Like, oftentimes it's we have ADHD and we don't have good structures in place. Instead of routines don't work for people who have ADHD. Or maybe you have trauma from childhood that caused you to be a perfectionist, and perfectionism is keeping you from moving forward because it has to be perfect. Or maybe you have a lot going on in life right now and you're mentally burnt out. Like, there's so many different layers, and people kind of beat themselves up about it. You don't have to do that. And maybe you don't have the tools. Maybe you were never taught the tools, how to work around those energies. But it is available if anybody wants to watch. And then if you're watching this on YouTube, or I have perfectionism paralysis. Sometimes we're not in alignment with something anymore, and that's causing us to like backpedal or not want to move forward because we need to shift gears or try something new. But change is scary. But it's not because you're inherently lazy, right? Sometimes it's a matter of like finding our why. So if you're watching this on YouTube, remember to like and subscribe so you can see more workshops and more of the lives. If you're watching this in the future, after the full moon, you can still receive the energy for the Aries full moon, because quantum energy healing, it's encapsulated in the ethers and time and space, so you'll still receive the same benefits from it. All right. And let's do a specific crystal on our way out here. It was calling our name. And actually we'll do two. Alright, so this is green aventurine. Green aventurine is really good for long-term manifestations. It's good for following your heart's desires. It's good for heart healing and releasing guilt. And so as we're going into kind of like this shadow work season and starting these new ventures and having the strength and courage to go after what it is that we really want, and demasking from, you know, that which is outside of us, also masking within. This green aventurine will help us with those energies. So the crystal was saying a good affirmation to ask yourself, or maybe like even a journal prompt, is what is it that I really want? Like if I had, yes, the Discord link is in my bio, or in the description if you're on YouTube. So what is it that I really want? Like if there was no limitations, like if I didn't have these self-limiting beliefs or worries that I'm not going to follow through, or the procrastination or the laziness like hanging over me, like what is it that I really want? And be like very honest with yourself, because sometimes we are trying to manifest something, but we're not manifesting something big enough. Like we're manifesting very small, and our higher self is like, I need you to keep pushing your limit. I need you to keep pushing your thermostat. You'll hear me talking about that a lot. Like you need to keep pushing that thermostat up and really seeing like your manifestation abilities and like how much you can really manifest. So like be honest with yourself. Like what is it that you really want? Because the universe doesn't play small. Our ego mind plays small. Yes, keep pushing yourself to grow. I would even say I keep inviting myself to grow. Because even pushing, like I think I'm going to change that too, that just like my higher self is like, let's say inviting ourselves to grow, because pushing is like coming still from that like kind of lack mentality and kind of like that parental, like you need to keep like right? So inviting ourselves to grow. Oh yeah, I would love to have you all in the Discord. The Discord, if you'll have questions about that, is we have like a whole bunch of different dedicated chats, and we can talk back and forth to one another. It's a really fun community. I love the community, and I pour in like tons of resources in there for psychology, ADHD, light workers, Reiki, like anything you can think of is in there. And it's fun to be able to chat with one another, and you can ask me questions, and we can have different discussions in there as well. Yeah, well, thank you, Nadia, for sharing, because I got that download too of like, let's say inviting ourselves to grow. So I appreciate that. Inviting and allowing are great words, yes. Okay, so on our way out here, we're going to work with some selenite. Selenite is really good, like cosmic wash energy. So if you have, oh look at that, if you have any stuck or stagnant energy that's still running in your system, or you're ready to release that Mercury retrograde energy, or just the self-limiting beliefs, doubts, worries, we're gonna ask the selenite to help wash it from our system. There we go. Okay. So if anybody wants to work one-on-one, I do individual sessions. I have a coaching program as well. There are links in my TikTok bio or in the description down there for my YouTube peeps. And I think a good affirmation that I was hearing is, let me piece it together. I am working with the Aries energy to pursue my passions, or something along those lines. But passions, like that fiery energy. Or I am receiving the Aries energy with ease and grace to pursue my passions. Speaking that over everyone if you would like to accept that. I am receiving the Aries energy with ease and grace to pursue my passions. Oh, thank you, Allie. I appreciate that. Thank y'all for being here. I always like to tell people that it's not just me to you, it's you to me as well. Like, we are co-creating this space with one another. We're all individual souls with our own healing abilities, our own beautiful gifts. Like, we're all coming together to create this space. We're all mirroring back to one another. So you are as much as the healer as am I. And I appreciate you all for being here and like being on the forefront of helping with this collective shift that we're all going through, because I know y'all are all going to take this energy and help with the collective with it. Because us being, you know, abundant and prosperous and pursuing our passions helps raise the collective frequency as well, on an individual and a collective level. Quantum energy healing, for somebody asked, what is quantum energy healing? Quantum energy healing is a little bit different than Reiki and light language, because Reiki and light language kind of do their own thing. Quantum is very encapsulating of all types of energies, because it's working through like your soul with all of your incarnations all the way back to your oversoul and the cellular bodies and the light bodies of all of those different incarnations. So it's like major karma clear out, and not like I did bad things and I need to make up for a type of karma. Just karmic lesson clearing and bringing healing to all the different incarnations, past, present, and future. Okay, I'm receiving the Aries energy to pursue my passions with ease and grace. Love it. Okay, I need to make like a little quote to share on my Instagram. Okay, yes, energetic shared space of vulnerable beings. Zim zum, love that. Before you had mentioned that, I heard thank yourself too. Love that, thanking myself, and y'all all thank yourselves as well for showing up and being here. Alright, and then this will be up on my YouTube channel, and there's a button up in my link there where it's Soul Harmony Magic. I also have a lot of other workshops on there, and Reiki and light language, quantum healing, spiritual chats. I feel like I'm kind of like pushing it towards the moon up here to like take the energy and transmute it and then wash it away. Oh, windshield wipering that old energy out. And remember, the full moon can make your emotions running pretty high. Okay, and it can also cause like disruptions in your sleep, especially because like it's working a lot with your subconscious, and so sometimes your dreams can be all over the place. All right, so remember to make space for yourself and ground a lot and drink a lot of water, and like there's a lot of emotional processing happening right now. Right, and with that fire energy underneath it, it can make it like even more intense. So have grace with yourself. Okay, everyone. Well, this is very magical. I appreciate all of you being here. And like I said, I'm gonna do more of these as well before the new moons and the full moons, so we can talk about like what is coming up, so everybody can be very prepared. Because I feel like when I watch videos before those things happen, when they happen, I'm like, oh yeah. Like this is normal. This is what's supposed to be happening. When I was researching about the Aries moon today, I was like, oh yeah, this is exactly what I'm going through right now in this space of life. And it made me feel more seen, and that it wasn't just me. So yes, thank you. The eclipse are going to be nuts next month. Thank you for telling me that so I can prepare for that and maybe for other people as well. Okay. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. I appreciate everyone as well, especially for Taurus, Scorpio placements. Cool. My son's a Scorpio, so maybe I can better prepare him for the season coming up. Thank you, Allie. I appreciate that very much. Thank you. Okay, everybody needs to drink some water. And remember that journal prompt too, even if it's not something that you write down, and I just say to your subconscious of like, where are we masking with other people or places or experiences or with self? And that's something that you can kind of deconstruct until the new moon coming up. And the new moon's great for bringing new energy and new life in. All right, everybody. Scorpio Pluto. Yeah, I need to do some research for him. All right, everybody. I hope you have a very magical evening. Happy full moon. Remember to put your crystals in your decks and make your moon water and do all your wishy things. Okay. All right, I'll see y'all next time. Bye.